'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a kingdom of memories, sleeping and dreams, lived a guy named Dean Weiss who was mean, harsh and bold, and his is the story you're about to be told. His views on one game were, in the eyes of some, seen as unfair and critical, but the worst had yet to come.
Oh, hey, what's up, gentlemen and ladies? Merry Christmas Eve to all. I know that this is actually a very special Christmas for a lot of you guys, since it is the last Christmas that we will be spending without Kingdom Hearts 3. Watch it get delayed again. No, but in all seriousness, I know that it can sometimes seem like I just hate the Kingdom Hearts franchise, but trust me, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be talking about it, which is why I figured that I would take this time to talk about the entire franchise, you know, one by one, game by game, and basically rediscover what made me fall so deep down the rabbit hole of Kingdom Hearts to begin with. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Kingdom Hearts. What can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? It's a PlayStation 2 classic in every sense of the word. The strange mixture of the Japanese edgelord Tetsuya Nomura designs of Final Fantasy combined with the Western American style that defined the medium Disney, and you got yourself a game that surprisingly worked very well. The story starts off with our protagonist Sora, who lives on an island with his friend Riku and dreams of building a raft and going away to discover new worlds. This was inspired when a young girl named Kairi washed up on the shore with no memory other than the fact that she was from another world. What I love about this intro is that you truly get a sense for these guys' friendship, and it's very believable. Even though Sora and Riku are friends, they're still rivals and are constantly competing with each other, either in races or fighting matches, and even arguing over which one of them gets to be with Kairi. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Donald Duck and Goofy discover that their king, Mickey Mouse, has gone missing, supposedly gone chasing after something that is causing all of the planets to get destroyed, and he needs to find a key to stop it. Turns out that what was destroying all of the planets were these dark creatures called Heartless who consume entire worlds, and this same thing happened to Sora's world. Luckily, Sora, Riku, and Kairi were able to escape, and Sora even got a new weapon called a Keyblade, which, let's face it, is a pretty damn stupid design for a weapon, but whatever. However, the three of them got separated and they're trying to find each other. It is then when Sora meets a bunch of other Final Fantasy characters whose world also went missing, and all that they can tell us is that there is more info on the Heartless in some research done by their king, a scientist named Ansem. But sadly, his reports were all scattered. Sora then decides to team up with Donald and Goofy to try and find Riku, Kairi, and King Mickey. What I love about this story is how simple it is. Yeah, it may be a bit cliche with the whole chosen one getting a legendary weapon and fighting his childhood rival, but that's all that you really need. The little that Kingdom Hearts does in terms of story, it does great, and what more can you really ask for? Now, gameplay on the other hand is kinda where my complaints with this game begin to arise. See, for a large part of the game, you're visiting all of these worlds based on Disney films, and the gameplay consists of action RPG combat, complete with levels, magic, summons, and the whole 9 yards. However, you can very clearly tell that this was Square Enix's first attempt at a fully 3D action game. See, prior to this, they had mainly worked on turn-based games where your character didn't move much during battles and the environments had fixed cameras, and even their more action-oriented games were 2D, not 3D. However, Kingdom Hearts was the first time that they would attempt to make an action game that was fully 3D, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty rough. Sora feels very clunky and heavy, your attacks are very limited, making it feel less hack and slash and more action adventure. The camera is really bad, especially because someone at Square decided to have the genius idea to map it to the 2 bumper buttons instead of giving us a full 360 degrees with a second analog stick. Also, this game is not a platformer, which is all fine and good, but why then does the game force me to platform in almost every single world that I go to? Seriously, it does not work. The platforming in this game just does not work, and it's not made any easier by Sora's size 26 sneakers that slide off every single surface that you try to land on. And also, for some reason, they kept the command menu from Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's right, if you want to summon or use an item or use a magic spell that isn't in your shortcuts, you have to navigate a menu in real time. Who came up with this system? However, I'd be lying if I said that these things completely ruined the experience for me, because even despite all of those problems, it's still fun to go to all of these different Disney worlds and interact with all my favorite characters. Every world feels like it actually has a purpose. Everything is explained and makes sense. So for example, when you go to the Little Mermaid world, the party is actually turned into fish people. When you go to the Pinocchio world, it's because we were swallowed by the whale Monstro, who for some reason was just floating up in space. Yeah, don't think about that one too hard. And the entire time we have the constant looming threat of this council of villains led by Maleficent, who are trying to capture all of the different Disney princesses because getting them all together will open the path to Kingdom Hearts, roll credits, which is the ultimate source of knowledge, power, and the source of all hearts. Whatever that means. Towards the end of the game, you start to learn that Riku has actually been working with the Villains Council because they promised him that they would lead him to Kairi, who apparently is also a princess and the last one that they're missing before getting to Kingdom Hearts. You reach their headquarters and face Riku one-on-one, summon your Keyblade ready to fight him, only to find out that the Keyblade was actually supposed to be his the entire time, and it only actually went to you because Riku fell into the darkness back when the islands were being consumed. And as if that wasn't already bad enough, your party members Donald and Goofy leave you since they were instructed by Mickey to follow whoever had the Keyblade, so you're left alone, without your friends, without your weapon, and with really nothing left. This is such a great moment in the game to fight your entire way to the top from literally nothing, only to have someone take all of the credit and get abandoned by your friends. It really puts you inside Sora's shoes. Those giant shoes. Despite all of this though, Sora decides to keep going. He fights his way through the castle with the help of Beast, and once he finally makes it to the top to face Riku, Donald and Goofy decide that key or no key, Sora is their friend and they're not gonna betray him. It is at this moment when Sora says an admittedly very cheesy but still awesome and memorable line.
I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
And just like that, despite the fact that the Keyblade, this mystical weapon that only appears in times of chaos and ruin, was supposed to go to Riku, it decided that Sora's heart was stronger and left Riku to go back to him. Such an iconic moment. We defeat Riku and then kill Maleficent, but Riku isn't ready to give up just yet, so he decides to fully give into the power of the darkness, and it is then when he truly opens his heart. At this time, a dark being takes the opportunity and possesses Riku's body, only to turn out to actually be Ansem, the king and scientist that the Final Fantasy characters told Sora about. He tells us that Kairi's heart has actually been inside Sora the entire time, but the only way to release it is for Sora to open his heart using a special Keyblade that turns him into a Heartless. It is at this moment that Riku realizes what he's done and he tries to stop Ansem, but he can only delay him. This is when the game goes from good to great, as you actually get to play as a Heartless, the enemy that you've been fighting the entire game, going through the castle until you eventually find Kairi and she somehow uses her princess magic to turn Sora back to a human. You, Donald, and Goofy then go to the end of the world where every place that the Heartless consumed lies and face Ansem one final time. In the last second, Riku comes back to his senses, and out of nowhere, after not being here the entire game, Mickey Flippin' Mouse shows up, and all of you close the door to Kingdom Hearts, leaving Riku and Mickey trapped on the other side.
Take care of her.
Kairi returns to the islands from the beginning of the game, and the party finds themselves chasing Pluto onto another adventure. God, what a good game. Even despite all of the problems with the gameplay, the original Kingdom Hearts has a level of charm and attention to detail that you just don't see in most games. They truly made sure that every aspect of this game was a true fusion of what you would see from a Final Fantasy game if it were to take place in the Disney universe. For example, the fighting arena where you tackle monsters is the Colosseum from Hercules. You can practice your magic spells with Merlin from The Sword in the Stone and recover summons like Mushu, Simba, Bambi, Dumbo, the Genie, and Tinkerbell by talking to the fairy godmother from Cinderella. There is a quest where you have to find the 99 puppies from the 101 Dalmatians and bring them back to their parents, Pongo and Perdita. Or how throughout the entire game you'll find these random torn pages that actually turn out to be from the Winnie the Pooh book, and each one of them unlocks a new minigame. You don't really see that level of love and care put into most games, even future games in this own franchise. Man, I'm starting to remember why I loved Kingdom Hearts so much, which in turn is actually only reminding me of how worse the series has gotten since then. Seriously, they had such a good thing going with this first game, and they had to absolutely ruin it with all these dumb spin-offs and side games and God knows what else. And honestly, it's the fault of nobody but biased fans like you who keep buying them. Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably gonna be terrible, and there's nobody to blame but you. And I refuse to just stand here and let this disappointment go out there to the world, and on Christmas of all days. You know what? No. I'm gonna go out there, and I'm gonna steal every single copy of Kingdom Hearts 3. Trust me, you'll thank me later. But I'm probably gonna need some kind of disguise, right? I mean, what's a costume that I can wear at around the December time so that I can sneak into people's houses and mess with the stuff under their tree, but without looking too suspicious? I got it. Too much? Yeah, I'll go change again. Let's go steal those copies of Kingdom Hearts 3. Alright, looks like this is house number 1 that got Kingdom Hearts 3 delivered to it. While I try to find a way in, why don't I go ahead and tell you guys about this little game called Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. So while most people were hotly anticipating a full-on sequel in Kingdom Hearts 2, Square Enix was actually hard at work on a follow-up to Kingdom Hearts 1, but it wasn't a mainline second installment, rather a sprite-based Game Boy Advance game that had combat based on using cards in real time. Yeah, you heard that right, the combat of this game is still real-time action RPG, except every single one of your moves is determined by cards. You want to swing your Keyblade? Easy, use a Keyblade card. You want to swing it twice? We'll use 2 Keyblade cards. You want to use a fire magic spell? We'll play a fire magic card. You want to heal? Use a cure card. It's about as weird as it sounds, and to be honest, I've never actually played the original on Game Boy Advance. I've only ever played the remake on PS2 that was made a few years later titled Chain of Memories that remade the game from the ground up in a 3D engine, and for some reason, they still kept the card-based combat, and somehow, believe it or not, it works even worse than it did back on GBA. But okay, so our story picks up literally right where we left off, with Sora, Donald, and Goofy on this trail wondering how they're gonna find Riku, Kairi, and Mickey when they're approached by a mysterious cloaked figure that leads them to this place called Castle Oblivion, where the deeper you go, the more memories you start to forget. Now, it's very clear that this game was just supposed to be a portable version of the original Kingdom Hearts because they literally shamelessly recycled every single Disney World one for one. Well, except for Tarzan, because they couldn't get the rights back for that movie. They pass it off as these worlds not actually being real and them just being our memories of these places extracted and displayed in front of us, but they're not really there. Those aren't the real characters that we met in the first game, and they don't remember you either, which gives us a perfect excuse to rehash the plot of every single one of those worlds. Now, where the story of this game kicks in is actually with the stuff that happens in between all the different worlds, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of. After Kingdom Hearts 1 did such a good job with all of the Disney aspects, in this game they seemed mostly like an afterthought, and the real focus was placed on the villains from this organization. You got Bad Boy that plays by his own rules, Axel, bitchy and likes to taunt you every chance that she gets, Larxene, evil mad scientist, Vexen, and fabulous, did I mention that I'm uber gay, Marluxia. And as you keep going, they keep telling Sora about this girl that he supposedly knew since he was a little kid named Naminé, which he goes up the castle willingly losing all his memories just to rescue. He kills all of the guys in the organization, but in the end it turns out that it was all a lie. Sora didn't actually know any Naminé, she just had the power to change his memories. And she did so because A, she was forced to by the organization, but also B, she wanted someone to come rescue her since she'd been trapped in the castle. And she purposely replaced all of Sora's memories of Kairi with herself so that he thought she was his childhood friend instead of her, but in the end, she gives him a choice. Either remember her and everything that happened on the castle, or forget her and all of his memories from the castle, but recover all of his old memories. And Sora's like, bye bitch, see ya, and chooses to forget her and remember all of the old stuff instead. Meanwhile, on the basement of that same castle, Riku was there for, reasons, and there is actually an entire second campaign to the game where you play as him trying to make his way to the ground floor and meet up with Mickey. You meet a couple more members of the organization, including I am super smart, carry a book everywhere I go, and only care about doing my job, Zexian, and super tough guy, I don't want to pick a fight, but I could totally break your spine, Lexius. Vexen had made a replica of Riku just to mess with Sora. He gets defeated, you face Ansem again, but this time it's supposed to be like an internal battle since he's still inside Riku's body, even though Sora defeated him in the last game. But it turns out to not be Ansem after all, and instead be this guy with one of the stupidest Final Fantasy designs that you'll ever see, named Diz. And in the end, Riku, Mickey, Diz, and Naminé all decide to work together to ensure that Sora can fully recover his memories while he is sleeping inside the pod. And that's Chain of Memories for you. Although it's definitely one of the more hated Kingdom Hearts games, at least in terms of gameplay, its story really isn't half bad. Even though yes, it sadly abandons most of the Disney and Final Fantasy related stuff for a story having to do with an organization and memories, for what it is, it gets the job done. You really feel for Naminé and how she was forced to do all of these evil things by Marluxia, and by the end of the game, you want to see all of these organization guys die. Well, except for Axel, he was kinda cool, and a fan favorite too.
Okay, looks like everyone should be asleep by now. I'm gonna go in through the back door. Aha! There it is. You know, say what you will about this game, but I think it has a pretty nice cover art, all things considered. All of these games really have a pretty nice cover arts. You know what my personal favorite is? Kingdom Hearts 2. So let's talk about this game, shall we?
Kingdom Hearts 2. Many people, myself included to be honest, call this game not only the best in the franchise, not only one of the best PS2 games, but one of their favorite games of all time. And I'd be lying if I said that Kingdom Hearts 2 was not in my personal top 5. The main thing that this game has going for it is its gameplay, which fixed every single problem that fans had with the original Kingdom Hearts. The bad platforming is gone, and instead levels are nice and open and focus more on combat than anything else. And oh, the combat. Sora feels nice and agile, like you really have control over what he's doing. By the end of the game, you'll be flying through levels doing all of these tricks and jumps, and it just feels so amazing to play. They put the camera control on the second analog stick, and I'm telling you guys, this will revolutionize video games. And to vary gameplay, they added these things called drive forms that allow you to transform into these more powerful versions of yourself, sometimes even wielding multiple keyblades. And you feel like a god playing with these drive forms. It is so fun. The game is so fun. But I'd be lying if I said that the game was perfect. Many complaints are raised against Kingdom Hearts 2, one of the bigger ones being the extremely slow opening, which I guess let's get into. So the game starts off not with Sora actually, but instead with a new character named Roxas, who is enjoying the last few days of his summer vacation with his friends before having to go back to school. And all of this weird stuff begins to happen, like these white creatures called nobodies appearing, and Roxas being able to summon the Keyblade, and him having memories of Sora's journey through Kingdom Hearts 1 despite obviously not being there. And if that wasn't enough, he's often visited by people doing these weird things like freezing time and giving him cryptic messages, including Diz from the last game, Naminé, and ya boy Axel, who I guess survived the ending of Chain of Memories? Huh. Who knew? So it turns out that nobodies are actually the counterparts to Heartless. When somebody's heart is consumed by the darkness, that turns into a Heartless, but the body that's left behind is the nobody. Now, I know that the names are very counterintuitive. The Heartless have hearts and the nobodies have bodies, but whatever. Back in Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora stabbed himself and turned into a Heartless, a nobody was born, that being Roxas. Yeah, sometimes the nobodies look like these little monster dudes, and sometimes they look like just regular people. I guess don't think too much about it. And then because Kairi's heart was also technically inside Sora when he stabbed himself and turned into a Heartless, she also created a nobody, which was actually Naminé from Chain of Memories. Are you lost yet? Oh boy, do I feel sorry for you, because we're only just getting started with the bullcrap. So it's revealed that Diz has actually been working with Ansem, who is apparently back now, implying that Riku lost control over his body and gave in again, and the two of them, along with Namine, are working to get Roxas to fuse back with Sora, because when Namine screwed up his memories, some of them went to Roxas for convenient dramatic plot reasons, and now he needs to go back with him. So he was kidnapped, got his memories wiped, and put inside a simulation by Diz, the good guy, mind you, which is where you start the game off and why all of this weird stuff keeps happening. Meanwhile, Axel is trying to capture Roxas because Roxas was actually a member of the organization, who are all actually nobodies, and they want to prevent Sora from waking up. Why? Because we gotta have some kind of tension, right? I know it makes no sense, but this should be the least of your worries right now. In the end, despite resisting his fate of merging back with Sora and denying his purpose as simply a nobody, Roxas has to give in and fuse back with his original self, and it is at this point that the game finally ends. Just kidding! This is when the goddamn title card comes up.
Who's there?
Oh crap! Hey, little girl, why are you up so late at night?
Are you Santa Claus?
No.
What are you doing here?
Well, I actually came to take this copy of Kingdom Hearts 3. I should probably get going now.
But Kingdom Hearts are my favorite!
Trust me, kid. You'll thank me later. Alright, so where was I? Oh yeah, the title card finally drops.
So the game officially begins, only 4 hours in, and Sora finally wakes up just like he was promised he would, with all his memories back except for the ones that happened in Chain of Memories. You go to the Sorcerer's Tower and he tells you that you gotta stop the organization, but he doesn't tell you why, just that they must be planning something evil. Then you meet back up with some of the Final Fantasy characters, they're all doing stuff, and the Kingdom Hearts formula ensues. By which I mean, we go to some Disney worlds, do some Disney stuff, and leave having gained absolutely nothing of value. Seriously, this is such a downgrade from the first game, whereas in that one the villains of the Disney worlds were the actual villains of the game, here the Disney stuff once again just feels like an afterthought. Most times they won't even bother to come up with original plots for the worlds like they did in Kingdom Hearts 1. Instead, they'll just redo the plot of the movie, sometimes shot for shot, which only makes you realize how crappy these look compared to the originals. And I'm not just talking about graphics, I'm talking about graphics, voice acting, quality, music! Half of the scenes don't even have any music, for crying out loud. Now, I will admit that there were some nice additions to the worlds this time around. For one, we got to go to a world based on Pirates of the Caribbean, which is interesting. Not exactly what most people imagine first when they think of Disney films, but I guess it's fine. Then there's The Lion King, where you actually get to play as a lion and woo! There's a world based on the old Mickey cartoon Steamboat Willie that is entirely in black and white, and everything is based on that old 1920s cartoon aesthetic. The Winnie the Pooh pages are back, and they also took the Little Mermaid world from Kingdom Hearts 1 and
Let the music move you. You can do it.
turned it into a goddamn musical. Are you freaking kidding me? And they even included the 1982 film Tron? I mean, sure, this film is fine and everything, but why include it here? It wasn't even made by Disney. It was made by Buena Vista, which, yes, is owned by Disney, but I don't really like that, if I'm being honest. Kingdom Hearts was supposed to be Final Fantasy meets Disney, not Final Fantasy meets whatever Disney can buy. I mean, the world is fun and everything, and I do really like the aesthetics of it, but I don't want them to just add stuff because they can. They shouldn't just throw literally anything that they can get the rights to just for the hell of it. But then again, Nightmare Before Christmas was also Buena Vista, and that was in Kingdom Hearts 1, so whatever, I guess. Anyways, this time around, we actually go to all of the Disney worlds twice. Once just to kind of meet everyone or catch up since the last game, repeat the plot of the film and waste our time, and then a second time where we usually end up chasing one of the organization members, and we even end up actually killing two of them. The lazy sitar-playing coward that doesn't want to do any work, Demix, and the ruthless, merciless, heartless, compassionless, and sense of fashionless Zaldin. We also learn that the leader of the organization is a guy named Xemnas, who is actually the nobody of a man named Xehanort. yeah, you can totally tell that they weren't trying to force anything with that name, right? And supposedly his Heartless was the only Heartless in the world to actually keep its human form even after turning into a Heartless, which was, wait for it, Ansem from the first game. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, in all seriousness, you're probably thinking, you lost me like 10 minutes ago, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about. But what you should be thinking is, I thought Ansem was the king of all the Final Fantasy characters. How could he be a Heartless of some other guy? To which there is a simple answer. He stole the name. I'm not kidding. There was a king named Ansem who ruled all the Final Fantasy characters, but we have no clue where the hell he is. I mean, we've never met him. The guy from the first game was the Heartless of some doof named Xehanort who just stole the name Ansem. Can you tell that they're coming up with this bullcrap as they go along? Now, Axel tries to kidnap Kairi and get some leverage on Sora because he wants to turn him back into Roxas since he was supposedly his best friend. I guess we're just supposed to assume that this friendship happened at some point between the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 and the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. But this all ends up backfiring on him. The organization takes Kairi, he gets marked as a traitor, and he helps us right at the end before killing himself in a kamikaze attack and opening a portal for us to go to the organization's world. In here, we find Kairi and Ansem, who isn't really Ansem, but Xehanort's Heartless, except it's not even actually him. It's actually still Riku. He just looks like him because he used the power of darkness to kidnap Roxas back when he needed to put him in Diz's simulation. And speaking of Diz, actually, it turns out that he was the real Ansem, king of Final Fantasy, all along. After like 40 hours of not showing up, he just comes out and apparently had an entire arc off screen where he learned to be less racist towards nobodies, and he sacrifices himself to help us. And this, somehow, don't ask me, returns Riku back to looking normal for some reason. Oh, and Riku and Kairi both have Keyblades too now, because this game just hates me. Then all of us get together and kill... Alright, let's do this one last time. Totally cool and likes to play around with a surfer dude, Zigbar. I literally have no personality past liking gambling, Luxord, and I have zero emotions and feel absolutely nothing, Sayax. Which is actually not totally inaccurate. See, nobodies, due to them not having hearts and all, supposedly can't feel emotions, and they wanted to collect all of the hearts that were released from Sora killing the Heartless to form yet another Kingdom Hearts. But not the Kingdom Hearts from Kingdom Hearts 1, this is a different Kingdom Hearts. And supposedly this Kingdom Hearts, for some unexplained reason, has the ability to restore all of their hearts so that they can feel emotions again. I don't know, man, these guys seem pretty genuine, like all they want is to be able to feel again, and I just killed like a dozen of them because some old racist white guy told me that I shouldn't like them because they're different from us. And then we have a final fight against the big boss, Xemnas. Riku and Sora get to show off just how cool they are at working together as a team. Riku is a total bro and takes like 20 hits for Sora during the last fight, and it all culminates with this giant moment where you're deflecting like a billion lasers from every direction, and it's such a good boss. The ending to this game is like one of the best that I have ever seen in my life. The game finishes with a pretty happy ending where Sora, Riku, Kairi, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are all together in the islands where it all started, and they finally settle down and live their lives. Of course, there's a teaser at the end when, after some time, the trio gets a mysterious letter from Mickey indicating that they kept going on adventures together even after this, but honestly, I think that it was a perfect ending to the series. Which, of course, is why they had to screw that up by adding like 20 more games in the franchise.
Huh? Looks like my Kingdometer's going off. Apparently there's another house around here that got Kingdom Hearts 3 delivered to it. Let's go. Alright, looks like this is the place. And looks like this is also going to be the place where we talk about Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2.
Okay, before we get started, yes, this is what the title looks like, and yes, it is officially supposed to be pronounced 358 Days Over 2. It's one of the stupidest names for a video game that I've ever seen, but what are you gonna do? So Days actually isn't that bad, all things considered, as it takes place during the events of Chain of Memories. Yeah, remember how I was complaining that Axel and Roxas supposedly have a friendship that we're just supposed to imagine happened off screen between the ending of Kingdom Hearts 1 and the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2? Well, that's exactly what Days is. The main character is Roxas, and the game takes place literally from when he came into existence after Sora stabbed himself in Kingdom Hearts 1, and it ends right when he's in the simulation spending the last days of his summer vacation with his friends in Kingdom Hearts 2. And I'm not gonna lie, the game is kinda boring, but it's actually somewhat on purpose. See, the entire game is supposed to be you building up a relationship with Axel and becoming the deep friends that he's willing to sacrifice himself for during Kingdom Hearts 2. The entire game is mission-based, and being that the game was on the Nintendo DS, the gameplay was severely limited compared to that of the numbered games. The gameplay feels even more dumbed down than that of Kingdom Hearts 1, and if I'm being 100% honest, it's just not very entertaining to play, all things considered. You do missions with all the different organization members, and at the end of the day, you go up to the clock tower and have ice cream with Axel. It's simple, but surprisingly effective. The game gets you used to this routine, makes you get comfortable with it, only so that it can pull the rug from under you right at the end. I mean, not that you didn't already know what was gonna happen at the end of this game, but still. Now, the only major retcon that DayZ makes is that it introduces a new member to the organization named Shion, because all of these guys apparently have to have X's in their names. You remember how back in Chain of Memories, Vexen made a replica of Riku? Well, it turns out that that guy was actually just the prototype for Shion, who is a puppet designed to be able to wield the Keyblade so that they can kill Heartless and achieve their goal from Kingdom Hearts 2. Even though they already had Roxas who could wield the Keyblade, but I guess she's just supposed to be like the backup? And throughout the game, you start to build a relationship with her as well, and slowly but surely, Roxas and Shion both start to find out more about themselves and their connections to Sora, and eventually, they learn that they need to die if Sora is to ever wake up, which deep down, they know is the right thing to do. The game ends with a very dramatic battle where Roxas has to fight Shion, and in the end, she dies in his arms as he slowly starts to forget her. Whoa, wait. Why does he forget her? Oh, well, you see, because of the way that she was made and the circumstance of her existence, and if she dies, then everyone just forgets that she ever existed, which is supposed to be super tragic and all, but isn't she supposed to be a more advanced version of the Riku replica? I mean, people didn't forget him after he died. Granted, I know that he didn't have as many connections to Sora as Shion or any of his memories, and I'm sure that there is some stupid in-lore explanation for how this works, but let's say it how it is, guys. They forget her because they hadn't written her back in Kingdom Hearts 2. And since nobody mentions her in that game, well, how could she possibly exist in this one, right? Oh, well, the rules dictate that everyone forgets her when she dies. Why? Because we said so. The end. It's so stupid. In conclusion, DayZ isn't that bad, all things considered. Did it need to exist? No. Does it do a lot of damage? Not really. Is it worth playing? Absolutely not.
Aha, here it is. Man, 2 down, 358 to go. Oh man, but I haven't even gotten to the worst part. Where it all really started to go downhill was Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
So Birth by Sleep is a PSP game that literally only exists because they made a cool secret ending for the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 that meant absolutely nothing and was just random, mysterious, and cool for the sake of being random, mysterious, and cool, but that they needed to tie into the story somehow. So the game actually takes place 10 years before the original Kingdom Hearts, and it stars these three... I struggle to call them friends, Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. And yes, Ventus does look identical to Roxas. If you're wondering why, it's because they threw Roxas into the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 2 for the sake of mystery. Ooh, why is Roxas there? Or if that's not him, why does this guy look exactly like him? So much mystery, so much intrigue. Don't you want to play Birth by Sleep to find out? Yeah, I did. Until I found out that they come up with the stupid mystery and questions first, and then they make up some answer. 9 times out of 10 changing or making up some new rule of how the universe works just to explain it. How does anybody enjoy this? This isn't fun. People like mysteries because usually you're given all of the pieces to the puzzle, but it's up to you to actually piece them together. With Kingdom Hearts, they give you a bunch of pieces that don't line up together, and you just sit there wondering like, how are they all gonna tie in together? And then when the time comes to actually explain them, the creator just takes one of the pieces, cuts part of it off with a knife, and then forces it to fit onto the puzzle. They were just made for the sake of mystery. There is no satisfying answer that they planned all along. They have to go through hoops to explain it. How does anybody accept this? And people actually come up to me and say with a serious face that Birth by Sleep is their favorite Kingdom Hearts game. But okay, I should probably begin with the actual game, right? So apparently, years before Kingdom Hearts 1, there was an entire establishment, a Keyblade League, if you will, where there was countless masters that trained people to become masters, and they took tests and learned how to use the Keyblade, blah blah blah. What I hate about this is that in Kingdom Hearts 1, the Keyblade choosing Sora is what made him special, what made you as a player connect to him, but in Birth by Sleep, they retcon all of that, and it turns out that there was like a billion Keyblades and people didn't get chosen by them, they simply inherit them. Riku? He inherited his Keyblade from Terra. Kairi? She inherited her Keyblade from Aqua. Mickey? He actually inherited his Keyblade. He had one before the one that he gets in Kingdom Hearts 1 that I guess he just threw in the trash can and never mentioned to us. Sora? He, through some weird technicality, also kind of inherited his Keyblade from Ventus. It's a long story, but basically our three protagonists are learning under Ericus, and two of them, Terra and Aqua, are taking their, quote, final exam under the watch of him and Xehanort. Yes, Xehanort. You remember how in KH1 we had a main villain named Ansem, but then in KH2 we found out that he stole that name and that he was actually the Heartless of a guy named Xehanort? Well, now in Birth by Sleep, we find out that Xehanort was also a fake. He wasn't the original Xehanort. This guy was. How do you people still claim that they planned this all along? Okay, whatever. So Aqua passes, but Terra fails because Xehanort used his hand-wavy magic to make Terra accidentally summon the darkness, which Ericus is mortally afraid of, so he instantly failed him because of that alone. And because Xehanort is evil, he tells Terra that he should embrace the darkness because that's never gone wrong before, and Terra leaves his home to, become stronger? Meanwhile, Xehanort's little sidekick Vanitas, who looks like a Tron Legacy reject, is convincing Ventus, or Ven, that Terra is leaving forever and never coming back, and because all the characters in this game are idiots, he falls for it and goes chasing after him. Finally, Ericus is too lazy to chase after Ven himself, so he tells Aqua to go get Ven and bring him back, and thus the Kingdom Hearts formula ensues. That is to say, Disney shenanigans, whoa! So the game is split into 3 separate campaigns, one for each character, and the 3 of them take place at the same time, with the 3 of them occasionally meeting up every now and then. Usually Terra is accidentally tricked or used to do something evil that he didn't mean to do, and then Aqua will show up and say, "Terra, how could you do such an evil thing?" And because characters in this series have something against just speaking and saying what actually happened, he says, "Whatever, Aqua, leave me alone," and leaves, and then Ven will show up and be like, "Aqua, how could you be so mean to Terra?" And then she'll say, "Ven, go home, you're just a kid," and he says, "No, you," and then they all leave to another world and the formula repeats. And we're supposed to believe that these guys are all the bestest of friends. It is astonishing how accurately they stick to this formula one for one with almost every world. Now the gameplay for this game is it's just bad, right? I mean, we all know it. Some people, when the game came out, pretended like it even held a candle to Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think nowadays people have actually pulled their heads out of their butts and realized, oh yeah, no, this just doesn't even compare. Now, credit where credit is due, they got rid of the horrible command menu, but they instead just replaced it with this thing called the command deck, which is pretty similar, except it's nothing but abilities that you have to equip, and you can only have a limited amount at a time. Anything from what would classically be limits, to magic spells, to special attacks, all takes up 1 slot in this deck, and they even managed to tie it into drive forms, or command styles as they're called in Birth by Sleep. And you know, while some of them do look very cool, in particular Wingblade for Ventus and Ghost Drive for Aqua, in actual gameplay, they're pretty bad. Most times, funny enough, actually making you weaker and more vulnerable, like for example, your dodge in Ghost Drive actually being worse than the game's default dodge, even though in Ghost Drive you are literally teleporting. And the thing that I hate about commands is that they're so broken. Like, if you spam commands, they will destroy just about any normal enemy in the game. And you might say, oh, well, you can't really spam commands because they have a timer that they're on, but the timer is so small, it is literally just a few seconds, and with a couple of magic haste, you can basically get to the point where you don't even need to worry about the commands recharging at all. Just spam Mind Square all day and you'll be good for most of the game. Gone are the days of KH2 where in the hardest difficulties you actually had to experiment with your entire moveset and every option was relatively viable. It was up to you how you wanted to play. In Birth by Sleep, there is exactly one viable play, and it's called Thunder Surge. And I know that people will say, oh, well, you don't have to use those things. You could make it harder for yourself by limiting what you can do. And yeah, sure, that's all fine and good, but why should we be rewarding these developers for not balancing a game properly instead of showing them how broken their product is so that they can fix the next one? This game is horribly balanced. Enemies choose when they get staggered. Enemies choose when your attacks are gonna work on them. Enemies choose when they want to break out of your combo. Enemies can choose to ignore your abilities. Enemies can choose if they want to one-shot you, even though you have the ability that prevents you from getting one-shotted and you were in the middle of a transformation or a limit that actively got you killed. And then people look at this and say, oh man, Birth by Sleep is so hard. It's such a challenging game, isn't it, guys? No, it's not. It's just that the developers didn't know how to make a fair game. Just look at any gameplay of some of the optional endgame bosses and you will see what I mean. But I am getting ahead of myself. So throughout the entire story, basically nothing happens. Xehanort is being chased by Terra, who's being chased by Ven, who's being chased by Aqua. There's some Disney shenanigans every now and then, maybe you meet some walking fan service every now and then, and bada bing bada boom, you make it to the final world. So what happens? Everyone dies. Kinda. So it turns out that Vanitas was actually the dark half of Ven's heart. Yeah, don't think about it too much. Xehanort needed the two of them to fight to forge this legendary mystical Keyblade called the Keyblade, but spelled with the Greek letter key, because aren't they edgy, guys? Because this Keyblade will help him summon Kingdom Hearts, which he needs to recreate the world or something like that. This is now the third Kingdom Hearts that we have seen in this series, and we still don't really know exactly what they do or why people want them. I mean, come on, it's the name of the series, man. You'd think that they'd try a bit harder. And he wants Terra because he's getting old, so he wants to possess him and have a young, strong body to use. And Aqua, oh yeah, she's just kind of there. And long story short, he kind of succeeds. He does possess Terra, which is their explanation as to why in Cage 2 Xehanort is a young scientist. We're just supposed to believe that this is Terra's body that he's walking around in. Ven and Vanitas do forge the Keyblade, but then it breaks for no real reason, and Ven is super damaged, so his heart flies away and eventually finds Sora's body, where he chooses to chill for a while. In case you're wondering, this is why Roxas, Sora's nobody, looks like Ven, or at least that's the excuse that they came up with. And as for Aqua, well, she locks away Ven's body so that nobody can find him, and then she finds Xehanort in Terra's body and she kicks his butt, but then falls to the realm of darkness to try and save him. Good job, Aqua. You just rescued the man that's gonna cause all of the world's problems for the next 15 years. How does it feel?
Ven, I'm sorry. I might not make it back as soon as I thought, but I promise I'll be there one day to wake you up.
For the love of God, emote, woman! Emote!
And that's Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. God, I hate this game. You know, they had such a good thing going, and this game just had to absolutely ruin that. It's so stupid, and Kingdom Hearts 3 probably won't be any better. I'm gonna go. I have some games to steal. And that's why Kingdom Hearts Recoded is trash, and you should never, ever play it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 is really the only thing I'm asking for Christmas this year. No, that and socks.
Really? That's it? Why, bro?
Well, I mean, I was like, I think 7 when the first Kingdom Hearts game came out, and I played it pretty religiously. And then Kingdom Hearts 2 really helped me through some tough spots in my life. I feel like I've been waiting for this game, I don't know, for what feels like forever, so it means a lot to me. And that's really why it's all that I want.
Alright, looks like this is the last house that got Kingdom Hearts 3 delivered to it. Crap, it's the real Santa. How did he find me? But there's still one house left. Okay, looks like this is gonna have to do for talking about Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. So Dream Drop Distance for many people was the breaking point. Even hardcore Kingdom Hearts fans, especially nowadays, can agree that this game A, did not need to exist, and B, literally just made everything worse. It was originally conceived because they wanted to make a Kingdom Hearts game for the Nintendo 3DS. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, by the time that this game came out, people were already starting to get impatient. It had been nearly 7 years since Kingdom Hearts 2, and they just wanted to see a Kingdom Hearts 3, not all of these handheld titles, which is why Dream Drop Distance was basically nothing but pure, blatant, shameless build-up for Kingdom Hearts 3. The game's plot revolves around the fact that in Birth by Sleep, we established that there is an official test that people have to take to become Keyblade Masters, a test that Sora and Riku just kinda skipped because they were busy accomplishing what no other Keyblade wielder ever did, saving the entire universe, but old Sorcerer from KH2 feels that they need to take this test because, well, we gotta have some kind of plot for this game. And because we need to have some kind of plot for this game, apparently now the test is not standardized. So whereas in Birth by Sleep, you were just fighting a few balls of light and then some sparring, here in Dream Drop Distance, you have to travel to 7 worlds that are in Inception Dream Limbo and unlock their keyholes so that they can wake up. Why we haven't heard about these 7 sleeping worlds up until now is beyond me, but all I know is that they totally planned this from the very beginning. Yes, absolutely. So you play as both Sora and Riku going to all of the Disney worlds. This time around, instead of meeting any Final Fantasy characters, we just meet the cast of the Nintendo DS game The World Ends With You and have basically the entire game spoiled for us. The gameplay of this game is more or less copy-paste that of Birth by Sleep. You got your command deck, and then this time around they actually added party members in the form of Pokemon, Dream Eaters. Yeah, some mastermind on the dev team had the brilliant idea to make the monsters on your party and the monsters that you fight all be the same, just slightly recolored. Game development at its finest, folks. And speaking of that, Magnet and Thunder aren't super broken anymore, but you know what is? Balloon. Yes, there is a move called Balloon in this game, or Balloonra to be more specific, and it basically just wrecks absolutely everything. Mobs, bosses, even the super optional stands basically no chance against a couple balloons. It is somehow even worse than Birth by Sleep, because at least in that game there was 2 or 3 broken abilities and different ones were used between different encounters, but here you just stock up on 6 Balloonra commands, maybe a cure spell for good measure, and you never even have to look at the screen again. Well, that and also flow motion. Yeah, they added this moveset called flow motion where you can sling around stages, bouncing on walls and spinning everywhere to try and make your mobility a bit better, and in all honesty, it's pretty fun for about 2 minutes. Then you realize just how absolutely broken it is. You can literally, not metaphorically, but literally fly to the end of levels without even breaking a sweat. Any kind of platforming or hidden things on stages, don't even worry about it. The square button is your best friend. Wow, just wow. Anyways, you go to all the different Disney worlds and, say it with me, the Kingdom Hearts formula ensues. The only actual plot-related thing that ever happens in any of these is that every now and then you're visited by all of these forms of Xehanort, like Ansem, Xemnas, even a young Xehanort, but since Sora and Riku are idiots who couldn't figure out that they're walking right into a trap if the villain straight up told them, which they do, they just keep going oblivious to everything and assume that it's just weird stuff because they're in Inception Dream Limbo. Not surprisingly, they get to the final world only to find out that they were walking into a trap all along, and oh no, how could we possibly have seen this coming? It turns out that after Xehanort failed miserably at the end of Birth by Sleep, he gathered that the only way to really summon Kingdom Hearts is to have a giant war between 7 people fighting for the light and 13 people fighting for the darkness, because the creator thought that those 2 numbers were edgy. But since Xehanort has trust issues, instead of just getting 12 other people to fight with him, he just figured that he would get 13 versions of himself to do all of this. And this is where the story just starts to go off the wall, much like me trying to use that flow motion on the Nightmare boss. So we're supposed to believe that Xehanort purposely lost the Keyblade in Birth by Sleep, faked that he had amnesia, and purposely became a scientist for Ansem, purposely lost his body and became a heartless and a nobody, purposely died as Ansem, and the whole thing about Kingdom Hearts being dark was just a lie, purposely died as Xemnas because the whole thing about getting hearts was also just a lie, and that everything that has ever happened in the entire series, all like 20 times that we've killed him or whatever throughout all the games, they were all just according to plan. He didn't gain anything from them. He didn't need to waste his time fighting us in Kingdom Hearts 1 or in Kingdom Hearts 2, but they were all just doing that stuff because I guess they were bored. And they all just let themselves die because they knew that they could come back. And how exactly did they all come back from the dead, you ask? Well, there's a very simple answer, my friend. Time travel. Oh yes, this series just went there. Time travel. So we're supposed to believe that they just went back in time to when Ansem was still alive before we killed him in Cage 1 and then brought him here, and then they went back in time to when Xemnas was still alive before we killed him in Cage 2 and brought him here. They even brought back Old Man Xehanort, so what was the point of you possessing Terra if you were gonna come back old anyways? Oh, and all the organization members that we killed, yeah, they're all back too. And it's full people now too, not just nobodies. Why? Well, because of a new rule that we made up that says that they can come back when they die, and as full humans now too. Oh, so all of those things that they did in Cage 2, like all that time and energy that they spent to get their hearts back, all they needed to do was just die and then they would come back whole again? Oh wait, no, never mind. It actually turns out that they had hearts all along. That was a lie too. What else is a lie, huh? Now you're gonna tell me that Sora is a Xehanort too? Oh, you've gotta be kidding me! Oh, they actually want to turn Sora into a Xehanort. What the actual hell? Now luckily Mickey and Axel come in to save the day right at the last second, and because of an arbitrary time limit that they just made up because this game had to end, all of them had to go back to their original timelines only to come back someday. You see what I mean when I say that this game was nothing but build up for Kingdom Hearts 3? Nothing is accomplished. These guys are all gathered only to give us exposition and then they leave. At the end of the game, the sorcerer arbitrarily declares that Riku passed the test and Sora failed. Sorry Sora, maybe next time try to not get sabotaged halfway through and almost have an 80-year-old man's heart shoved inside you. Better luck next time, sucker. But this doesn't matter. Nothing has changed. It's not like Riku got any special power because he's a master now, or that Sora isn't gonna go on the adventure in Kingdom Hearts 3 because he failed. Literally nothing changed. You could almost skip this entire game and be absolutely fine. It is... It is impressive how bad this is. Whatever, let's just hurry up and get this last game so I can go home already.
Not much longer till dawn, everyone's still in bed, all expecting their games, not what they had instead. And yet someone lay patient, still looking for trapping, the man responsible for all the gift napping.
So, believe it or not, there's still one Kingdom Hearts title left to talk about, and you might want to be sitting for this. It's called Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. I dare you to try to find a stupider name for a video game than that.
Okay, so before I actually talk about 2.8 itself, I should probably provide a little bit of context. One major complaint that people always raised against the Kingdom Hearts series is just how many damn systems it was on. To fully enjoy the franchise, you needed to own a PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advanced, Nintendo DS, PSP, 3DS, and then a PS4 for Kingdom Hearts 3. So they actually listened to this complaint and decided to port all of the games to the PlayStation 3 with two collections. There was Kingdom Hearts 1.5, which included the first game, Rechain of Memories, and remastered cutscenes for 358 Days Over 2. And then there was Kingdom Hearts 2.5, which included the second game, Birth by Sleep, and remastered cutscenes for Recoded. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 was the third and final collection to come out, and it included Dream Drop Distance as well as two other titles, and those two other titles are what I want to focus on right now. First, there is, oh dear god, Kingdom Hearts 0.2, Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage. I swear, it's like they're going for a world record with dumb names like this. This is basically like a little mini demo of Kingdom Hearts 3. It uses the same engine and tests out several features that they wanted to implement into 3. It also served as a sort of test for the development team who had never really worked on a major home console video game before. It was sort of like a practice run for the real deal with Kingdom Hearts 3. So the story takes place immediately after Birth by Sleep. You guys remember how the last time we saw Aqua, she was falling deep into the realm of darkness? Darkness. Well, this one actually takes place in the Realm of Darkness as she explores the destroyed worlds of Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. The gameplay is a bit of a fusion between the classic numbered Kingdom Hearts titles and the Birth by Sleep Dream Drop Distance system, and in my opinion, it takes the worst from both. You get the crappy command menu from Kingdom Hearts 2, but not any of the combat depth. You get the bad command styles from Birth by Sleep, but not any of the fun or broken abilities. You get tiny little hints of flow motion every now and then, but they're all mostly automated. And then because it's a PS4 game, they felt the need to add more realistic animations to the character, which only makes the game feel slower and like you have less control. I seriously encourage you guys to play around for a few minutes in 0.2 and then immediately go open up your endgame Kingdom Hearts 2 file and you'll see what I'm talking about. KH2 feels so much better. The story, if you can even really call it that, is pretty short, all things considered, only like 3 hours max. It basically leads right into the finale of Kingdom Hearts 1, where Mickey showed up on the other side of the door out of nowhere right at the end. Turns out that right before this, he was just chilling with Aqua, but she couldn't leave with him because of this extremely convenient wave of Heartless that just happened to show up and she had to go fight them. Oh, what a shame. It's almost like they hadn't even written her back then or something like that. And the thing that everyone always makes fun of this game for is the fact that it explains how Mickey lost his shirt. See, in Kingdom Hearts, Mickey always has an original outfit that includes a shirt, but in Kingdom Hearts 1, he was just wearing his normal Disney outfit with just the shorts. How could this possibly be? Well, 0.2 explains that. It was the convenient wave of Heartless once again, because that was my biggest issue and problem with the series' story. The consistency of Mickey's shirt, yes. And you know what? If you made an entire game just to explain why he was missing his shirt, then I'm gonna go ahead and call you out on your bullcrap, because he was still wearing his Kingdom Hearts shoes with the belts across them, even though he wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 1. How about that, huh? You gonna make another game 0.3 to explain that? Man, this game is so dumb. And then the third and final title included in this 2.8 bundle was a movie, just like how 1.5 included the 358 Days Over 2 movie, and then 2.5 included the Recoded movie, except this movie was actually kind of relatively original, all things considered. So right after Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced, they released a browser game called Kingdom Hearts Key. Once again, the Greek key, letter X, because they love to be super edgy. The game took place during the ancient Keyblade War, hundreds of years before the events of the game, starring your own custom avatar in one of 5 unions for the game. Eventually, this was ported to mobile phones in the form of Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, and then it also got a second season called Union Cross, but to be honest, we don't have time to get into all of that right now. It is a huge mess that isn't even done yet. They're still releasing missions for it to this day, but the thing that we're going to be focusing on today is the movie version called Kingdom Hearts Key back cover. Now, upon first glance, you might think that this is actually going to be a movie version of the story of the mobile game so that people who don't want to play it don't have to, but please, that would just make way too much sense. Instead, this story is told from the perspective of the leaders of the unions that your characters join, also known as the 5 foretellers, who are constantly fighting each other over dumb bullcrap. Basically, their superior, a hooded guy simply known as the Master of Masters, told them all that there was a traitor among them right before disappearing into God knows where, probably Kingdom Hearts 4 if I had to guess. Now, even though there actually was no traitor as far as we're aware, this was enough to get them all to turn on each other, essentially making them all traitors, which is supposed to be kind of ironic, I guess. Why the Master did this, we have no clue. All we know is that he gave his 6th apprentice, another hooded guy named Lushu, the Keyblade that Master Xehanort eventually gets, and then a secret mystery box that has something in it that they're not gonna tell us. I can almost guarantee you that they had no clue what was in that box when they wrote it. Once again, they just wanted to have some mystery and intrigue for fans, but like, is anybody honestly still falling for this crap at this point? It is so obvious that whatever's gonna be in the box, they just made it up to have something in the box. Not because there actually was something interesting there, but because they wanted a mystery and now they need to make up something for that mystery to be.
Alright, I think I've just about had enough of Kingdom Hearts for today, and if you guys are wondering what I'm going to do with all the copies of Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to put these all where they belong.
The Kingdom Hearts are my favorite!
I feel like I've been waiting for this game, I don't know, for what feels like forever, so it means a lot to me.
I'll do it tomorrow. Who's there?
This world has been connected.
Oh my god, what the hell?
Relax, relax, I'm not gonna hurt you.
What the hell are you?
They call me the ghost of kingdoms past.
What are you doing in my house?
I've come to show you something very important.
What?
Take my hand.
Where are we?
You should recognize this place. It's where you used to live as a kid.
What? What's that? What is this? How are you doing that?
Yes, Dean, that is you playing the original Kingdom Hearts as a kid. Look how young you were. Look how happy the game made you.
Yeah, I guess back then all those little plot holes and nitpicks didn't really matter. All that mattered was that I was having fun. But still, just because I didn't see those problems there as a kid doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Very well, Dean. I guess all of those fond memories simply meant nothing to you.
Look, could you just please take me back to my home and my time?
Oh, but you never left your home.
What are you talking about? Now what?
Are you the one they call Dean Weiss?
No, wait.
Yes, and you are? Look, I've come to show you something very important.
Again? What do you want?
Take my hand.
Oh my god. That's...
Yes, Dean, that is you now in the present. Remember when you were doing all of those Kingdom Hearts 2 live streams?
Yeah.
You called it, what was it again?
One of my favorite games of all time.
Haha, yes! One of your favorite games of all time. And how would you have felt if someone had just stolen your copy of the game before you got to play it?
Look, this is different, because...
Up. Have you played Kingdom Hearts 3?
Well, no.
Then how can you know for a fact then?
Look, it's not like that. I know that...
Have you played Kingdom Hearts 3?
No.
Then you're not even giving it a chance.
Well, what if I do give it a chance and it turns out that I'm right, huh?
That's not up to me to tell you.
No, it's up to me to decide?
No, it's up to him.
Who?
Let me guess, the Ghost of Kingdom's future? What, you're not gonna say anything?
No, you know what? No, I'm done with this.
Oh my god. Where are we now? Wait, is he playing Kingdom Hearts 3? I guess we really are in the future.
Wow. This game is really bad. 13 years of pointless speculation, and they failed to meet even my incredibly low expectations.
Aha! See? I told you people would hate it. I shouldn't have doubted myself. Where are we now?
Wow. This game is so good! I can't believe after 13 years of my life and just waiting with speculation and everything else that they finally surpassed my expectations.
I guess some people really did end up enjoying it, huh? No, I get it. Even if some people do end up hating it, others may end up loving it, and even if I hate it, that's fine, but who am I really to choose for them, right? May your heart be your guiding key.
May your heart be your guiding key.
May your heart be your guiding key. May your heart be your guiding key. May your heart be your guiding key. May your heart be your guiding key.
May your heart be your guiding key.
Maybe KH, Dean thought, isn't just silly lore. Maybe KH, perhaps, means to some a lot more. And what happened then? As some tales would say, Dean Weiss's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And also, it was all split in half and had part of Xehanort shoved in and somehow created a Heartless, and then his body became a nobody, but we really don't have time to get into all that right now.
I gotta fix this. Last house.
Santa?
No, little girl. I'm not Santa Claus, but he wanted you to have this.
There you are.
Look, Santa.
I know what you were doing, Dean.
I know that what I did was wrong, and I realize that now, but I've returned all of the presents now. In fact, this was actually the last house, and I promise you that it's not going to happen again.
Well, seeing as how it is Christmas, and you did make my job a lot easier, I suppose I could give you a second chance.
I would really appreciate it. Trust me, I know that what I did was wrong, and it's not going to happen anymore. You won't be hearing from me.
Well, folks, it seems that Dean has learned the spirit of Deanness.
And the minute Dean's eyes saw the game held it tight, he realized his love wasn't dark, it was light. And he popped in the game not a worry the least, for his nitpicks and doubts had all simply ceased.
Yeah, Joey? It's me. Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough is cancelled. And I'm gonna delete the channel, too. Yeah. Well, then I guess I'll see you in hell. There is nothing to believe in. Nothing. Merry Christmas!